Today on Bits, we're going to talk about milling lumber. Today Josh is going to come around from behind the camera to talk to us about milling lumber because honestly, he knows more about it than I do.
Hi everybody, I'm Josh. When building woodworking projects, you're going to get your best results by using lumber that is parallel and has 4 square edges. Now if you shop at the home center, your rough lumber typically won't come this way. You have to make it that way on your own. Traditionally, this is done by using 3 tools: the jointer, the planer, and the table saw. You use the jointer to get your first flat face and a perpendicular edge. Then you use the planer to get your final thickness and your second parallel face. Lastly, you would use the table saw to achieve your final width and your second parallel edge. But first, before we start, we need to talk about Snipe. Snipe is the result of these machines digging into the ends of your board, creating little dimples. We're going to account for those later on. The first step in this process is to cut your rough material into more manageable sizes. You're going to take your known length and add about a foot to account for the snipe that we mentioned earlier. Later on, you're going to cut those off. To get our first flat face, we're going to use the jointer. Take the widest part of your board and pass it over the cutter head, pressing evenly down and forward. You're going to listen to the cut because you're going to need to make multiple passes until you hear a consistent cut across the board. And once you have that flat face, you'll rotate it against the fence and do the exact same process for the short edge. Make sure you check this edge with a square to ensure that it is perfectly 90 degrees. Once you're satisfied with those 2 cuts, you're going to go over to the planer. The planer does 2 things. Using the cutter head, it will eat away at the top of your board until you've achieved your desired thickness, and it'll also create a parallel top with your flat bottom. So just like the jointer, you're going to have to take multiple passes through the planer to achieve your final thickness. And once you're finished with the planer, you should be left with 3 finished sides. Now to take care of that last rough edge, we're going to use the table saw. You're going to take the short edge that you cut on the jointer, press it against the fence on your table saw, and pass it through the blade. Once you've completed this final cut on your table saw, your board should be parallel and squared. Now if you have a larger project, this process may seem tedious, but trust me, it is worth the effort. Your panels should turn out flat, your glue line should have no gaps, and your pieces should fit together perfectly. If you don't have these 3 machines in your shop, you can get similar results by using hand planes, a table saw, or a router. Discovering the benefit of these 3 machines really improved my ability to make tabletops and cutting boards and a lot of other woodworking projects. I hope that this video is helpful to you and that you can use it next time you need to make something in your shop.
Big thanks to Josh for all that information, and if you guys have some more tips on how to mill lumber efficiently, let us know down in the comments and we can all learn together. I've got a whole playlist of other Bits videos that you may be interested in. Check some of those out, and I'll be back later this week with a new project. I'll see you then.